Welcome to this Spanish special of Banderas en 50 Lugares, or flags in 50 places to you and me. The story of the Spanish flag dates back long before the familiar red and yellow stripes. Spain's flags have evolved over centuries, beginning with the royal standards used by the Habsburg in the 16th century. One of the most notable was that of the burgundy cross, a white banner with a dark red cross, which became associated with Spain's military and later its colonial empire. However, it's in the late 18th century that we see the first appearance of the flag that would inspire the modern Spanish flag, the red and yellow stripes introduced by King Charles III for the Spanish Navy. In 1785, Spain's King Charles III made a bold move that would change the course of naval history. He introduced the red and yellow flags for the Spanish Navy. But here's the catch, this wasn't just a random choice. Antonio Valdez-Yerbazin, a top naval officer, presented 12 different flag designs, and Charles III personally picked the winner. That design, sketched out in a drawing now housed in the Naval Museum of Madrid, was chosen for one reason: visibility. Spanish ships needed to stand out in the vast seas, and this flag did just that. For the next half-century, the flag stayed firmly in the naval realm. Now, while the red and yellow stripes are often linked to the historic kingdoms of Castile and Aragon, that wasn't the main reason for the design. The flag was crafted for a very particular purpose. And the coat of arms, it was all about symbolising the monarchy's authority, bringing together the symbols of Spain's powerful kingdoms to reflect the unity of the crown. This flag moved from being solely the naval emblem and became a symbol of Spain's great empire, and it was used to represent Spain's identity on the world stage. Wherever Spanish ships sailed, so did the flag. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, things would soon take a very dramatic turn. In 1931, Spain took a bold step towards democracy and the establishment of the Second Spanish Republic, marking the end of the monarchy and the beginning of a new era, at least on paper. The flag of the Second Republic, introduced that same year, was a radical departure from the royal banners of the past. Featuring 3 horizontal stripes of red, yellow and purple, it symbolised the republican ideals and Spain's desire for a more inclusive, democratic state. The purple stripe was chosen to represent the historic kings of Leon, who I thought were from Tennessee. Anyway, reflecting Spain's shift away from the monarchy. Right, so let me get this straight. To show their move from the monarchy, they use purple to represent a kingdom, which by its namesake is run by a king. No wonder the Republicans lost. Anyway, despite the optimism, the Republic's flag represented the Second Republic was short-lived. Political polarisation and growing divisions in Spain culminated in the Spanish Civil War between the Republicans and the Nationalists, which raged from 1936 to 1939, tearing the country apart. During this time, Franco started to fly this more traditionalist flag, and in the end, Francisco Franco and his nationalist forces, supported by Nazi Germany and fascist Italy, what a great bunch they were, triumphed, establishing Franco's military dictatorship and ending the democratic experiment. Despite its short lifespan, the flag of Spain's republic remains a powerful symbol for many Spaniards, especially those who continue to advocate for a republican future. Franco, with the backing of the military and the church, ruled Spain with an iron fist. His regime reshaped the flag to reflect his power. The flag of Spain, once a symbol of the monarchy, now became a banner of the Francoist state. Under Franco, the flag was altered. The traditional coat of arms was replaced by a new emblem, featured a yoke and arrows, a symbol of fascism and unity under his dictatorship. The flag was no longer a neutral symbol of the country, it was the face of oppression, and for many, it still carries the scars of that painful period. In fact, for Franco, just to make the point, he enlarged the emblem on the flag just to show that he meant business to the rest of the country. But the flag, like Spain itself, was about to change. After Franco's death in 1975, Spain underwent a massive transformation. The dictatorship had lasted for nearly 40 years, and now the country was ready to embrace democracy. But how does a country transition from an oppressive dictatorship to a democracy while still carrying the weight of its past? In the late 1970s, Spain began its transition to democracy, and the flag became a symbol of this new beginning. While the red and yellow stripes remained, the coat of arms was modified to reflect Spain's monarchy and its diverse regions. The Franquist emblem was replaced with a new one that incorporated the historic symbols of Spain's kingdoms, and the crown was reinstated. More importantly, the modern flag became a powerful symbol of reconciliation, unity, and the democratic values embraced by Spain after decades of dictatorship. And today, Spain's flag represents a unified, democratic nation. It represents a country that has moved beyond dictatorship and is embracing complex regional identities while honouring its past. The Spanish flag, with its iconic red and yellow stripes and royal coat of arms, now stands for freedom, unity, and a hopeful future. Even today, Spain's flag continues to stir debate, especially in regions like Catalonia and the Basque Country, where its history is still deeply felt. Yet despite the controversy, it remains a symbol of Spain's ongoing journey, one that has weathered the darkest chapters from the Burgundy Cross to the Franquist regime. The flag has stood as witness to the country's most painful times, and now as Spain embraces its future, it still flies high. So, what's the real story behind Spain's flag? It's not just about colours, it's about a nation that has fought for its freedom and identity, and that, my friends, is a story worth telling. And speaking of Catalonia, did you know their flag flies within Spain's national flag? But where did Catalonia's flag come from? And are the colour schemes just a coincidence? And how did they manage to get their flag on not one, but two national flags? To get the answers to that and more, you're going to need to have a look at this video here, where I finally made it to Barcelona, 32 years late for the Olympics. Yeah, I know, better late than never. Bon voyage.